The following podcast contains spoilers, although you probably don't care. We watch thing. We watch thing. Hello everybody and welcome to We Watched a Thing with Billy and Dave, and this week not just the two of us, because we're doing a big epic movie, and for a big epic movie you need a big epic guest.
When you're talking major Oscar contenders, two people ain't enough.
That's right. So please welcome back on mic our great friend Sam Hurley from Movie Reviews and 20 Qs. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm very happy to be here and raise the IQ of your podcast. It's a pleasure.
Well, I had to invite you because I know how excited you were for this movie. You messaged me on Valentine's Day saying that you were ditching your wife to go see it, which I'm sure went down a treat.
Yeah, a treat is one word for it. It's definitely one word for it. I'm not gonna lie. This was legitimately in my top 10 most anticipated films of the year.
Yes,
I was
same.
seen as.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get straight into it then, because I can't wait to talk about this one. We are, of course, talking about Madame Web, which is a 2024 American superhero film based on Marvel Comics, featuring the character of the same name, produced by Columbia Pictures and Sony, of course. And it's the fourth film in Sony's Spider-Man universe, directed by S.J. Clarkson from a screenplay she co-wrote.
It's got to be more than four.
It just feels like it. From a screenplay that she co-wrote with Claire Parker and the writing team of Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless. Fantastic writers.
Sharpless by name, sharpless by nature.
Starring, of course, Dakota Johnson in the title role alongside Sydney Sweeney, Celeste O'Connor, Isabel Merced, Tahar Rahim, Mike Epps, Emma Roberts, and Adam Scott. And why don't we do this? What's it about, Sam?
Who fucking cares? It's what it's about. It is the origin
it's a prologue to other films.
It is. It's imagine how awesome it would be to get a Spider-Verse movie where none of the characters you give a shit about, and the three ones that you do care about don't even get to become those Spider-Verse characters that you're hoping for.
Let's have a superhero movie. We'll have a superhero movie where the only superhero stuff that happens is in a flash forward.
Exactly. And the best part is, like, when you get to the end, they do next week on Madame Web.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have spoken about this before, Sam, because we were both, comic readers, in particular Spider-Man, so we were familiar with Madame Web. And I remember you asking me when they announced this, like, what the fuck are they going to do here? Because it's an odd pull, man. She's an elderly woman who
make her young and pretty.
Yeah, she's an elderly woman confined to a wheelchair in the comics.
We don't have old people in superhero films anymore.
No, we don't.
Aunt May in Marvel is hot as shit. Agatha Harkness is about 50 years younger than she should be, and a baddie. Exactly. And now Madame Web is 50 years younger than she should be.
100%. Look, let me start off by, I just want to tell a story, right? So you're right, Billy. It was Valentine's Day. So I went down to my local mall, which is, a good kilometers walk away from me. And I went down there on Valentine's Day at 7:00, and I got to the movie theater. And for the first time in my life, the movie theater was jammed. There was people coming out of the door and all this other shit. And I was like, why the hell are all these people here? And then I thought to myself, oh, it's Valentine's Day. They must be all here for the 7:00 screening of Madame Web. I'm not going to be able to get into that screening. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come back at about 8:40. I'm going to come to the other screening. So anyway, I came back to the other screening. And if you're sitting there right now going, I'm bored as fuck listening to the story, Sam,
I'd
rather talk about the story than talk about the fucking movie.
Were all those people there for the good Sydney Sweeney movie instead?
I suspect they may have been. But just to touch on my Synagogue experience, I just want to talk about one thing that I thought was fucking hilarious. Was I walked into the movie theater and the ads were playing, and they've got like this little curtain that comes down because the ads take up 3/4 of the screen, 4/5 of the screen.
Yep.
And then the movie started playing, and the little screen didn't go up, so I couldn't see the top fifth of the movie. And so I was sitting there, and because I decided to sneak into the really expensive fold-out recliner seats, I was like, shit, I'm the closest one to the door. And there was like a lot of people sort of turning around and looking in my direction. So I was like, I'm going to have to go tell someone. So I was like, I better wait for a real bad bit to go tell someone. I was like, every bit's been bad so far. So I got up and left. And I went and told the guy, and the guy goes, yeah, no problem, we'll come down and we'll fix it. That was 60 minutes in the movie. He showed up 50 minutes later, like nearly an hour later, to pull the screen up. And I was sitting there, and he sort of walked past and looked at me and thought, hey, we never sold any of those expensive seats. And there's me sitting there with a big shit-eating grin on my face. and then he walked out of the door, and I went, phew, I made it. And then my seat broke. And the back of it snapped. And I fell like about a foot to the left. And I thought to myself, this is the movie like coming to life. This is me manifesting the movie. So then I swapped seats and I sat on a mystery fluid. That's the best way to describe it.
Left
So
there
I
from
went
the 7
there
o'clock
into it.
screening of Madam Web.
Yeah, exactly. And the first thing that came to my mind was, I hope that's urine.
Oh, well, I did send you an article earlier in the week, Sam, about someone being kicked out of the theater for masturbating during this movie.
Yeah, I could look. I'm not
What?
confirming or
How?
denying
She
that,
had
so-
paint on her overalls.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Well, yeah, for the first time in We Watch Thing history, Dave and I saw this movie together because I had to do a work trip to Sydney and I didn't actually have that
Because
much
if you're
work
going
to
to travel
do.
into
so-
state to watch something in person together, this was the one.
This is the one to
this-
do
this
it.
is
Yeah.
This
Don't,
is the-
don't
this is the
fucking
one.
waste that trip on like Dune or something.
Yeah, so we also hit up Gold Class, which was a great idea because at least we were able to have some beers.
Yeah.
Let's
Then I
get
spilt mystery fluid from my fish tacos all down the front.
let's get into the movie though, because I just want to up front say this movie has been widely panned. Everybody is calling it the worst movie of the year, the worst movie of the decade, the worst everything.
Yep.
I disagree. This is not the worst movie I've seen this year, and it's not the worst movie
No.
I will see this year. I think this movie's fine.
This is the third worst movie I've seen this year.
I
Which
feel
in
like-
February is not a fucking. It's not a good year so far. Let's face it.
that's not a good track record. But I mean, I think we all agree on this. I mean, my expectations were like whatever below low is, like to the point of like wasn't actually expecting to see a movie, and I only saw four fifths of one. So I guess you can make an argument that I didn't actually see a movie, but legitimately went into it thinking this is going to be terrible, and then
Yep.
spent most of the movie waiting for it to be terrible. And yeah, it was bad, but it wasn't like Morbius.
This is not Morbius.
I
or
mean,
Suicide
I'm
Squad.
going to
No,
hit a
no
button
way.
here that's going to piss you off at least, Sam.
Big Dizzle's Big Call.
I
Here we go.
would rather watch this movie 5 more times than watch any of the previous 5 MCU films. And I'm not even going to look up what they
That's
are. I
fucking
can say
mental.
that off the back of my hand. Without even looking
No,
up what the
so
last 5 MCU
This
films
is
are.
5 times better than
Yeah.
Black Widow or
100%.
Eternals.
100% this is.
You're on drugs.
This is
That's
a
insane.
million
That
times
is
better
insane.
than Black Panther Wakanda Forever. It's a
Oh,
million
without even
times
that
better
shit.
than whatever the most recent Thor was. I forget what the last 5 were, but I would easily watch this again before them.
Guardians 3.
Yeah, okay, that's the one exception.
Guardians
Still not a great
Got
film, but
him!
it's a good
We
film.
got it.
I would watch Black Widow, good film. Eternals, good
Yes.
film.
Yeah.
Guardians
No.
3, almost great film. This movie, piece of shit.
It's not a piece of shit.
It's not
look,
as bad as it's
I-
not Argyle. It's not fucking Mean Girls. for
Yeah, this
Christ's
is
sake,
better than those.
But it's still a piece of shit.
Look, I'm
The
just-
writing in this is terrible.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you right there. Here's
a show with this guy.
no. Look, here's the thing. I know
I'm
that.
quitting as well, bro. I'm not even like the full-time half of the show, Dave. I'm out of here, man.
I know that nobody else is going to agree with me here.
Ah.
I think that the most annoying thing is that this is actually a good to great movie wrapped inside one of the worst made
What
movies
the-
I've ever seen. I think that the plot and the narrative is actually pretty cool. I like that this is a superhero movie without superheroes. It kind of reminds me a bit of like Unbreakable. I actually like that what we're...
Unbreakable.
Yeah, I actually like that her powers are not the superhuman strength thing. I like that this is a really relatively small stakes movie. This isn't take over the world. It's really just about
Sure.
protecting these kids.
No, fair
I
enough.
like that. I think most of the performances are pretty decent. I actually really like Dakota Johnson. I think that she's good. I don't
cast are
think
fine.
I don't
The
think the
cast
script
do
is
the
that
best
bad.
they could,
I
but
think
there's
the
some
worst
awful
the
dialogue.
worst thing about this film, which shocks me that I've heard some people say it's the best thing about the film, is the cinematography and the direction. This is a poorly shot and poorly edited
Oh, yeah, it's
film.
terrible.
And that's
The
what
CGI is
ruins it
terrible.
more than anything.
Yeah, no, the cast were all good.
Sam
the
doesn't know what to say. He's
screenplay-
speechless.
The screenplay for this film is a fucking hot mess.
Disagree.
There's no consistency to the first half of the film. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was better than the second half. At least things made sense. Cassie's powers made sense. She was getting glimpses of the future, and she could change the way she did. And that shit wasn't handled well, but at least, it made sense. Then she starts projecting fucking force ghosts at the end, some of which can touch shit and some of which just
she told
stand
that. We
there
get
and
that in
give pep talks
exposition.
to-
Old Spider-Mate in the river tells her she can do that.
How this is going to fit in with other stuff is beyond me. You've got Ezekiel, who's not in the comics a bad guy. We've had him in Across the Spider-Verse, and he's a perfectly nice fella who just tells you about spider totems. But now he's a villain who wants to kill people. You've got 3 spider people who are now around before Peter Parker's born, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever in terms of comic continuity. Emma Roberts had no business even being in this. Why they didn't have a no-name actress for Mary Parker is beyond me. She had 3 lines. Why fucking cast Emma Roberts?
So I read that
Save your
was...
money and
Emma
spend it
Roberts?
on your shit CGI.
Why cast Emma Roberts? I agree with that. Why cast Emma Roberts? She sucks. She's fucking terrible. Both as a person and as an actress. She's terrible.
Shots fired.
Oh, I don't give a shit anymore. This is fucking preposterous. No one's going to listen to this because no one's going to go see the stupid fucking movie.
I mean,
so who cares?
honestly, that's true. No one's going to see this movie. The box office is so bad. Anyone who even thought about watching it has just been turned off by how bad the reviews are. No one is going to see this movie. This is going to be the worst performing movie of the year for sure.
To be honest, I feel like it's almost gone full circle where it's performing so terribly and it's had such shit reviews.
People
they
see
are.
it perversely just to see if it's as bad as everyone says.
What I'm hoping for is that Sony does what they did with Morbius, which is everyone popularized it's Morbin
And then
time.
they re-release
When
in
Sony
cinemas.
re-released the
Women
movie.
time.
And it fails all over again.
Exactly. What I feel like there's going to be is an outcry of, that was the guy that was in the rainforest with my mother when she died looking for spiders. You know, the line that everybody's... I don't even want to fucking do it because it makes me feel like I'm having an aneurysm saying those words in that formulaic sentence. But, like, a lot of people are mocking this movie by saying, where is it? Where's the line? I feel like Sony's going to go... Guess what, motherfuckers? We've put that back in the movie and we're re-releasing it. Here's your chance to go see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
And similar to the Morbius re-release, it's going to gross $1.2.
But the thing is, I walked out of this going, how ironic that this entire movie is a non-movie with no plot that's just setting up future Spider movies with these, Spider-Womans, etc., etc. And they're not going to make them because this movie's going to tank so badly. But then I remembered it's Sony and all of their Spider movies tank horrendously and get, sub 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, and they just keep making more of them and making them worse every single fucking time. So there's probably 4 more of these bloody films coming in the next 5
I
years.
hope so. I will be devastated if we don't get Madame Web 2. I can't wait for that shit.
I don't think there'll be another Madam Web film.
Oh,
I
that
think
makes
we're
me
going to
sad.
get No. She'll be around, but she'll pop up as a support because she's blind now, so she's not going to be doing much. She'll be hanging on a web the way she does in the comics, just being young and 50 Shades Hot instead of old and grey.
Yeah.
And they've cured her myasthenia gravis that she has in the comics because you don't want anything making people uncomfortable in the theater. No, you'll get Spider-Woman movies, and you'll Spider-Girl and fucking Silk and whatever. I can't even remember. They changed the name so much.
Arana, isn't one
that's
Anya Corazon, isn't she Arana?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll get, or they'll stick them all together, and it'll be like Sisterhood of the Traveling Webs. And Dakota will just come in as like the Professor X character who just sort of hangs around, being, spitting out wisdom.
Let me ask you this. You guys both ragged on the screenplay profusely. Is there anything about this film you guys did like? Did you guys like the performances as much as I do? I think Dakota Johnson is great in this movie.
I think the actors are all fine. I had no issue with the acting. I thought they were all fine with the shits words that they were given to say.
Yeah, I'd go as far as to say some of them were fine. It was like there was nothing remarkable, outstanding, and that sort of stuff. Like again, it was the negative expectations. I was told that Dakota Johnson was going to deliver every line with the charisma of a wet blanket, and it was like I was surprised that she actually put some inflection into her voice, and I was like, wow, okay. And so maybe it was a very low hurdle to jump over. I didn't feel like they were necessarily. Like that was the problem. Like, and even if we're okay, we're talking about things we like. When they started leading into the thriller, like esque element of it, where she was seeing the future and what was going to happen and trying to figure out, like earlier on when she's grappling with her powers, like Dave said, they don't handle it very well. But at the same time, like from a storytelling perspective, it added like a little bit of like, wow, what's going to happen here, and who's she going to lose and all that sort of stuff. Because we see. She still ended up losing that guy that she, tried to save or whatever. But, so there was, no one safe and all that sort of stuff. But like, it just like, that was it. That was like the one moment that I was like, okay, this is kind of turning into a semi-decent thriller. But then it just, man.
Yeah, I thought the scene on the train was pretty well handled when she.
Yeah, stuff like that. The train's a great example. That was a great sort of thriller.
That was
scene.
the thing that I found weird because overall, I with you, Billy, I thought the direction was pretty shit.
It's abysmal. To me, it's easily the worst.
It's an inexperienced director, so that's what you expect. But there were moments like the train scene where I think the direction actually was halfway decent. Like the way that they cut and structured between the flash, and on the train she has like 2 or 3 flashes because she sees each of them die in succession. You've got that guy saying, "Oh, New York subway's crazy" or something about 5 times, and I thought that was all put together quite well. And then everything else.
That's true. Those sequences I don't think were handled too bad. I find it shocking how bad the direction was. I know you say that, inexperienced director, but she's done a lot of TV work and a lot of good TV work.
I forgot we had
no. I know that TV is different, but she directed the greatest episode of Dexter, the very famous John Lithgow episode as the Trinity Killer. She directed several episodes of Succession, which is a really great show, really well put together. I know they don't have the same elements.
Should have been better based on that, but there's no action scenes.
Yeah, I know. But surprisingly, I think the best directed bits of this film were the action scenes, like you say, or like the thrillery scene on the train. It's the regular everyday scenes that are fucking batshit. The opening scene of this film, where all of a sudden it's shot like an episode of The Office, where we're zooming in and out for inexplicable reasons. What the fuck was that? And then there are whole sequences of this movie that aren't even shot like a student film. They're shot like a student music video, where the camera is inexplicably spinning around. Like every scene of a car driving in this film is fucked. Every time you see the ambulance and the camera like sticks to the tire of the car, it's just fucked.
I said this to Billy in the cinema, but I could have done with more spiderweb metaphors. There weren't enough shots of cracked windows that looked like spiderwebs in this film. We needed at least 30% more of those. I needed spiderwebs fucking everywhere.
Do you know what I wanted more of? I wanted more of just fully on the nose references to Alice Spider-Man properties.
Yes.
What are we gonna name him? What are we gonna? And then the balloon burst. Wow, but he's a Parker, and this is his Uncle Ben. What are we gonna name him?
Yeah.
That's my other. You'll appreciate this. Where the fuck is May?
Yeah.
Ben and Peter Parker's being born. In 5 years, his parents are dying in a plane crash.
Yeah. But you know what it is.
And Ben hasn't even met May yet.
No, you know what it is. It's because
marry her, and then
it's because they're not going to get Marissa Tomei in this movie, but they need you to believe it's in that same universe. So they're not.
Adam Scott's reading the script, going, "Oh, I'm going to get to Mac on to Marissa Tomei next film. Awesome."
They're going to digitally de-age her. I'm going to get peak 2003 Marissa Tomei.
She doesn't need de-aging. She's just like a fine wine, just getting better
exactly.
year
They're going
to
to take 2 years off her, and then she's going to look like she did in 2003. But we had that scene. Like the very first time we get a very on the nose thing was when he was saying, "I've met someone. This one's a little bit different." I went, "Oh, fuck, are you serious?
Yeah.
This is Ben Parker." I get it now. He's met Aunt May.
Yeah.
Great. Great. And I was like, surely they're not going to have more on the nose ones. But then it gets progressively worse to the point that we get with great power comes great
Yes.
responsibility.
Yeah.
When you have great responsibilities, you manifest great
Yeah.
power. Whatever. Oh,
Oh.
are you fucking serious?
Even-
Are you
even-
fucking serious?
Even more on the nose than that is when I think it's Emma Roberts is talking to Dakota Johnson about how, Ben, he's really looking forward to being uncle. He's going to love it. Like all of the whatever it is and none of the responsibility. And she obviously has this little vision knowing that it's Spider-Man. She's like, oh, I wouldn't be so sure about that.
I just
Terrible.
No.
Terrible. It's just terrible. The complete sea change or whatever that takes at the end. And that kind of makes me feel like a lot of the people that are ragging on this as one of the worst movies ever is basing on what was the last 5 minutes that they saw of
Yeah.
the movie.
Okay.
And the last 5 minutes is like, it's just, hey, oh my God, you guys... remember Sarah, what's her name? Julia Carpenter, the second Spider-Woman. Here she is. Oh, Sydney
Look.
Sweeney. Oh my God, look at this, guys.
look
Look,
at the
look,
costumes. They're wearing the costumes. You
They're
thought
in
we
the
weren't going to
costumes.
do the costumes. We're doing the costumes.
Exactly. Look at this moment that was like shot so that we can put it in the trailer. But there's that, and like we're just talking about I would be so sure. Oh my gills. Oh, it's like it's like you're going to a party, like a surprise party that somebody's organized, or like a surprise trip or something, and the whole time they're like, "Oh, you might need your swimsuit, but you might need, some warm clothes. You don't know where and you're just like, dude, just tell me. I don't fucking care. I don't want to play this bullshit game. It gets so boring so quick. Oh, where are we going now? Are we going to the beach? Are we going in the wood? Oh, shut up.
You know what it felt like to me? And it's probably not the case. I didn't care enough to go and research it, but the whole thing felt like Sony didn't have the rights to use Peter Parker / Spider-Man in films that Marvel wasn't associated with anymore. And so their sneaky way around it was to take someone who's old in the Peter Parker timeline, do her origin story. So they're setting themselves up for like 10 years worth of movies before Peter Parker's even grown up.
Yeah.
They can half name check him in the credits to tie it all together, but not actually have to reference him. And then they'll just transport all the other Spider people back in time where they don't belong. And now they've got 10 years of movies with Spider-Woman and Ariana and Silk and blah, 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 blah. And no one's going to be able to say, where's Spider-Man? Because they've already said, oh, he's a baby.
Yeah.
That's why he's not
exactly.
doing shit.
They've given themselves
Fuck you,
the
Marvel.
ability.
we found a loophole. We're
Yeah.
going to make Spider-Man movies for the next 10 years without Spider-Man.
When the movie started, I was like, why is this set in 2003? It was very unclear to me because it seemed to me like that was done post, like later on in the process as well. Like it was added, they added in a few songs. They've obviously dubbed over half the dialogue. We haven't even spoken about that. And I was like, why is this set in 2003? And it wasn't until towards the end that it became obvious to me, it's because this is the Tom Holland timeline and they needed that to match up.
No. See, this is the real answer. When nothing makes sense, everything makes sense.
Because we're not in the MCU universe. The whole god-awful No Way Home post-credit shit with Tom Hardy and all the rest of it made it very clear that all of this shit is in another universe where Marvel don't have to acknowledge it. So there's no Tom Holland. There might be an Andrew Garfield or a Tobey Maguire, but they've just been born. Whether Andrew or Tobey are the one that's just been born, we don't know yet. But they don't have to worry about all of that. They've just set themselves up in this little wall garden of this is all in the past. None of this is related to all that other shit. Suicide Squad, that's in the future. Don't worry about that horrible shit. No one liked that. We don't like that. This is a totally separate. 20 years before that shit. These could be good films. You don't know yet.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because it's almost like they followed the Captain Marvel way because that's kind of what they did with her, right? They set her in the 90s.
Yeah.
So that like all of the shit that's happening on Earth, it's like, where is she? Well, she was in space.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. She went back to her home planet.
She was ashamed to come home because she'd done something that she was ashamed of. And that's why retroactively she wasn't there.
Let's talk about what I do think is a genuinely awful part of this movie. Like I said, I don't think this movie's terrible. This is one of the worst on-screen villains we've ever had in a superhero movie. This guy fucking sucks. He's so bad. All of his dialogue is redubbed.
they've taken a mentor from the comics and just turned him into a villain for no reason.
I don't
and
think
it's
he
just
was.
not explained.
I don't think he's as bad as his Oscar villain, which was the filmmaker. Oh, almost made it through that.
Because what his entire rationale is, they are going to kill him in the future because he had a fucking vision or something, and so he's going to kill them all now.
Be smarter though. It is so it is so obvious that whenever you see something like this in a movie, the trope is, well, they get their powers because you interfere. You the vision you're seeing, you set up. Like, you establish this. If you just leave them alone, none of that's going to happen, mate. You'll be fine. I hate that shit.
Or why not befriend them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why is killing them the option? You know?
Yeah, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
Because is he? Do we see anything criminal about this guy other than the fact he's trying to kill these 3 girls because he thinks they're going to kill him?
Well, he shot her mum, didn't he? Like, he shot her.
Oh yeah, because he wanted
the
powers,
Amazon. Because he wanted the spider for himself.
Yeah, true.
How this random dude has any idea about the spider and what it does and any of that sort of stuff? No idea. This is supposedly one of the best guarded archaeological.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Exactly. Can we talk about my least favorite scene, which is you actually did love me, Mum. Let's cuddle. What? My mum hated me. That's why she was pregnant with me in the Amazon rainforest.
How is she touching her?
Powers.
Oh, yes. Hashtag powers.
Powers.
That's where it started to get ropey as shit, is when things were just happening because the filmmakers, that'll look good. It made no, you're having if you're envisaging a memory or whatever, you can't fucking interact with it and go and start embracing people. And the whole, now that you embrace your powers, now you can be in more than one place at once.
Yeah.
So we get that fucking on the nose shit where she force ghosts to the 3 of them who are all randomly hanging on fucking pylons, or all 3 of them fall and clutching on for dear life. And these force ghosts, one of them is solid enough to help one of the girls. The other one just sort of crouches down and gives her a fucking pep talk. Why are you bothering with that one? That's not. It seriously crouches down and goes, "You can do it."
Yeah. Come on, there, champ.
Fuck off. You're helping her. You're lifting her up. Why are you just fucking talking to me?
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
that entire scene, the fact that the movie culminates in a battle at a fireworks factory, it's so bad.
About that. I'm surprised they didn't run over like crates of chickens and watermelons.
Yeah. It's so bad, culminating in the villain being crushed by a falling Pepsi sign. And it honestly made me go, I can't tell if this is like paid product placement or not, because it's killing a guy. That's bad.
Yeah, it's killing a guy. But not only that, earlier in the movie, she shows up at at the barbecue or whatever, the cookout or whatever. I don't know. It's supposed to be Mary Parker's place or whatever, right? And then she shows up there and she goes, "Oh, I could really go for a beer." And he gives her a Pepsi and she's just like holding it to the camera, like, "Ugh, I really wanted a beer."
It's the worst product. I've heard numerous people say the same thing. It is the worst, most ineffectual, overt product placement I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, mate, you can have any beer you want as long as it's a Corona.
The brand is thrust in your face, but every time it's done, it's in such a negative way. I'm not sure if it's sponsored by Pepsi or Coke.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, right? It's really hard to tell. I was legitimately waiting for her to go, "I really wanted a beer, but Pepsi has less calories than one of its main competitors, and it refreshes.
It's much
and
more
it
refreshing.
Better."
Yeah. All right, so it sounds like you guys just fucking hated everything about this movie then. How are you scoring it?
With a very low number.
I'm a 4. This is a 4 out of 10. It's not Suicide Squad. It's definitely not Morbius. It's not Mean Girls. It's not even Argyle, but it's not good either.
Yeah, this is hard for me because I was legitimately trying to think of like in the big comparison world of superheroes, what this one comes close to being. The only one that sort of sprung to mind was like Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, in terms of like, oh, what were you guys doing? But
I don't even think it's that bad, to be
I,
honest.
nah, I put a 4 on Letterboxd, but I kind of feel like I'm a 3 now after talking about it.
Letterboxd is out of 5, isn't it? What the fuck?
No. Like, sorry, I've scaled up for this. Scaled up version of an amazing podcast. But yeah, I'm somewhere between a 3 and a 4. I honestly believe that if I watched it again, I'd have no idea where I'd go.
Yeah, I'm honestly thinking about seeing it again tomorrow. Like, I've got the day off work, and I'm like, there's nothing else out yet because movie release day isn't until the day after. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll go see it again because
when's it hitting streaming? Because I want to get the kids to watch it before Leah listens to this episode, so that I can not give her any guidance and just see what they think of it cold.
Yeah,
well, given the box
science
office, it's probably going to be tomorrow when it comes.
Yeah, it's going to hit streaming soon. Yeah. I reckon I'm a 5. But honestly, I had a fairly decent time with this film, and there's plenty of things I didn't hate about it. There are some things that are awful, but there are some things that are pretty decent.
I genuinely think all of the cast are fine.
Well, that's the worst thing about it for me is I'd love to see Dakota Johnson in a proper MCU film.
Nah.
No?
Nah.
What
no
about
justification? Just no.
What about Sydney Sweeney?
No.
Oh, that hurts.
I don't know enough about Sydney Sweeney. Actually, no. I watched in The White Lotus, and I thought she was really good in The White Lotus.
I thought she was good in that as well. I think that's the best she's been. Apart from this, to be honest, I thought
you need to see Voyeurs.
Voyeurs? Yeah.
Terrible film, but she's nude through most of it.
Right.
I thought in anyone.
I've heard she's quite good in Euphoria, but I've never seen Euphoria. Either.
I can't bring myself to watch that because I've got a teenage daughter.
Kid. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Yeah, I quite liked her in The White Lotus, but Anyone But You, her new rom-com, I thought she was so bad in. I love her, but she has zero charisma or chemistry.
That's a fully enjoyable film.
She's terrible in it, but I actually didn't hate her in this. So.
But she had paint on her overalls and glasses. She was hideous.
That was
yuck.
It was literally out of Not Another Teen Movie.
Sydney's got a gun.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this amazing episode about this amazing movie, Sam. Can you tell people where they can find movie reviews and 20 Qs and what it is you do over there?
Yeah, fuck you too, Billy. People by now know our show. I've been on here a few times, but Movie Reviews and 20 Qs is a show where we review a movie by asking 20 questions about it. And
weird and wonderful questions.
Weird and wonderful. We try to go a little bit sort of, like a little bit weird.
Get it right.
Funny. I know. I've been doing like nearly 250 episodes of my own show, and I've forgotten how to promote it. Go check us out. You can find us anywhere. I'm sure there'll be a link in the show notes or something like that. But yeah.
Well, Sam, most important question then before we go: how would you insert Nicolas Cage into Madame Web?
Oh, I could only ever
can't say Spider-Man Noir.
No, I know. I was going to go Spider-Man Noir. I thought that was too much of an easy option, so I want to see him. Which would massively improve this movie, similar to how it massively improved Ghost Rider 2. I want to see him pissing flames as Ghost Rider. That's what I want to see.
I want to see him as Baby Parker.
Yeah, deep fake. Well, I was thinking Andrew Garfield could have had
baby
his face.
Comes out with Nick Cage's face.
Yeah, exactly. Deep fake onto the body. That would have been pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sam. This has been an absolute treat. Next week, all going well, I think we've got the new horror movie Baghead, Dave, which I'm curious.
I'm actually looking forward to that. That trailer is pretty fucking good.
Me too. So that's hopefully what we're up to next week. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, where we'll give it to you all under the handle at wewatchedathing. If you want to help support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing, where there's some pretty cool stuff happening over there at the moment. And we will catch you next week.
It's going to be one of the last times you get to say that little outro, buddy.
I know. Catches.
Woohoo!
He shot Billy while he was researching spiders on Amazon.